How did you turn a Weeabo into a Chad? I walked in on the school Weeaboo Fisher talking to a mirror in the bathroom, crying about the pants he just peed in. In school, there was this guy named Fisher who got paired with me for our final project. The moment our teacher announced the partners, Fisher's mouth dropped like someone had just told him to take a shower. He shuffled over to my desk, dragging his backpack behind him like it weighed more than Gorlock the Destroyer. Fisher was the kid who ate lunch alone in the library, by choice, with a full-on gaming laptop so he could play League of Legends. Fisher sat down in front of me and immediately said Gomen Asai for existing. He said he was sorry he'd probably mess up the project and sorry I got stuck with a pathetic loser like him. The kid literally apologized for breathing too loud. I told him to stop tweaking and that we'd figure it out together, that it wasn't a big deal. I don't know why I bothered saying anything because he started telling me his whole life story. Apparently this junior named Jeremiah had been making Fisher's life hell since freshman year. Jeremiah would knock Fisher's manga out of his hands every morning. He'd steal his hentai hoodie and toss it around in class. The worst part was Jeremiah always did it in front of this girl Sonia, who Fisher had been crushing on since middle school. Fisher said watching Sonia see him get humiliated every day was worse than the actual bullying. I watched it happen the next morning in the hallway. Fisher was walking to his locker when Jeremiah appeared out of nowhere like some kind of discount villain. He slapped Fisher's manga onto the floor, and everyone saw the steamy shower pages. While he tried picking it up, Fisher's Tamagotchi fell out and rolled away. Sonia was standing right there with her friends, and they all just looked uncomfortable. Fisher dropped to his knees, scrambling to pick everything up, while Jeremiah stood over him laughing. He kept making jokes about Fisher being on his knees and told him, "Good boy." Sonia tried to help Fisher pick up some papers, but Jeremiah told her not to touch his stuff because her fingers might get pregnant. She walked away looking guilty while Fisher stayed on the floor trying to keep his snot in his nose. The pattern continued for weeks while we worked on our project. Jeremiah would trip Fisher in the cafeteria, and his tray would go flying. He'd lock him in the bathroom stalls during passing period. Once he even stole Fisher's presentation notes right before he had to speak in English class. Fisher just took it all without fighting back like he'd accepted this was his sad weeb life. One day Fisher came to our project meeting with a black eye. He said he'd walked into a door, but I knew he was lying by the way he peed his pants. Jeremiah had cornered him after school and actually punched him because Fisher had accidentally made eye contact with Sonia during chemistry. The kid got punched for looking at someone. I know Fisher is, well, Fisher, but even he didn't deserve that. I started paying attention to Jeremiah's routine and noticed something interesting. Every Thursday he stayed after school for basketball practice. He always came out of the locker room last because he spent forever fixing his hair. The dude had more hair products than a salon and showered himself with Axe body spray. Definitely not sponsored. That gave me an idea. The next Thursday I waited outside the locker room with Fisher hiding around the corner. When Jeremiah came out adjusting his Tyler Oakley hair, I called his name. He turned around looking confused about why some random kid was talking to him. I told him to leave Fisher alone. He's gonna have a hard life as is. He laughed and said he didn't care. That's when I pulled out my phone and showed him the video I'd taken earlier that week. It was Jeremiah in the bathroom talking to himself in the mirror and practicing pickup lines. "Hey girl, you must be tired because you've been running through my mind all day." The video was just painful to watch, and Jeremiah's face went white when he saw it. I told him I had copies saved everywhere and would send it to the whole school if he didn't chill out. But then I had a better idea. I called Fisher over from around the corner. Jeremiah looked confused but couldn't do anything. I handed Fisher my phone with the video still playing and told him it was his choice what happened next. Fisher stared at the phone, then at Jeremiah, then at me. His hands were shaking, but something in his eyes had changed. He looked Jeremiah straight in the face for the first time ever and said, "Leave me alone or everyone sees this." His voice cracked a little, but he didn't back down. Jeremiah muttered something about this being stupid and stormed off. Word spread fast about Jeremiah backing down from Fisher. People started treating Fisher differently when they realized the bully had lost his power. Sonia even asked Fisher if he was okay and said she was glad someone finally stood up to Jeremiah. They started talking more in chemistry class, and she agreed to be his date to winter formal. Fisher found me after school a week later with the biggest smile on his face. He thanked me for giving him the chance to stand up for himself. He dapped me up, and in my hand, he left the Trojan wrapper he used to smash Sonia. It was his way of saying thank you, but it was still sticky.